let's go ahead and watch some Tooth and Tail games, shall we? All right. I believe this is the best of 7, so let's get it started. So, this guy over in the northeast area, in the yellow. Meanwhile, Delthius down in the south, rocking the red. So, looking at some of the map overall, this is kind of a big yikes. If you are this guy, it's not really a very great spawn point here. There is a campfire you can easily grab on this area, but other than that, a lot of the second option is this corner. Probably gonna be very difficult to defend unless you like have a crap ton of balloons, which this guy does not have. Meanwhile, Delthius, he can macro all day, every day in game number 1. It's just gonna be interesting to see how this goes for this guy. I think he's kind of forced to go for a 1-baser, which I think he does have the comp for, as he does have a mass tier 2 option here. He will go for mass squirrel. I think the early game is going to be the big annoyance for him, as Delthius does have lizard on his deck for this. But with the Squizzard in total, have a good chance to do some flanking, some interesting optimal choices here. And we are going to see this guy going into raccoons early. Now, raccoons have honestly been the most interesting thing to see in the tournament so far, or really just in the playing in the meta as a whole. As I've seen a lot of raccoon play through a lot of the top players here in this game, so I'm very curious to see how this guy handles things. As it looks like Delthius and this guy is just chilling. I'm not quite sure what that conversation they were having together in that moment, but hey, you know, sometimes it's just good to be like, all right, bro, like I know what you're trying to do, don't do it. But it looks like Delthius is looking to do it here, and this is what I'm talking about. This lizard harassment is going to come into play. That Warren's going to be gone. Oh, can that Warren be gone? Yes, it will. And I think he lost a couple of lizards here, so a little bit of an even exchange here with, I think, losing 1 squirrel and a Warren for this guy for 80. So a bit even Steven there going into it. You look at the army value, Delthius getting bigger and bigger with that mass tier 1. We are now seeing the campfire might be coming into play later on. But this guy getting into some cams as well as massing into the tier 1. And okay, here comes more lizard harassment from Delthius. Hey, Night Slayer, what is up? Hope you're having a good one. As we dive into this best of 7 series between these two. And we're seeing another fight here, and again, another pig getting sniped, and the harassment continuing on here from Delthius. Delthius being very aggressive here in the early goings of this game. As we are passing that 3-minute mark, this is going to be a situation where this guy has to make some kind of move. Getting into mass tier 2 is interesting. Dropping the raccoons entirely, trying to see if he can find a way to get into this. But I think Delthius can just come in and just go for the win here. As we can see more harassment. Way too much going on the tier 1 basket. We do see some cans coming in, but the cams get absolutely slaughtered. And now the pigs are going to get control. So very great micro here from Delthius. We're going to see some skunk harassment here. We finally see another cam come into this, and we will see it finally a defense coming in here, but this guy very much behind here into this game, and it's not a good start if you're this guy. Delthius going back on the retreat. We're now seeing this guy having to try and see if he can go for a counterattack here. Try to get something done, but I don't think it's going to matter too much, as this guy's army is going to be completely done, and game number 1 is going to be decided. So Delthius gets on the board with the first victory of this best of 7. So, good start here from Delthius. Good start here from Delthius indeedy. let's go ahead and dive right on in to game number 2. Alrighty then. So this guy over in the east side, rocking the yellow, while Delthius way up north, rocking the red. So we do see quite a bit of changes here when it comes to composition between both of these players. I think Delphi is actually sticking with what he had. Well, no, he didn't, because I believe he only had 1 tier 1. This time he has the wolf and the fox. So the Fulf deck, as I would like to say. And then this guy going for your standard badger deck here with some toads sprinkled into this, which is very interesting. You don't really see toads too often in Tooth and Tail. It's kind of been a very very tough unit to kind of bring into any composition. But if there's any way to get a use for them, is to possibly counter those lizards, which honestly you might have to really consider. That's why he picked them specifically, because of the lizard harassment. He wants to avoid that as much as possible. So getting into the map itself, we do have both having a good natural second mill if they want to go into the macro game. It looks like both Delthius gonna get into some lizards already in the early goings. We're gonna see this guy opening up with some cams instead. Probably gonna throw in some squirrels as well, added to it, because at this point, good counter would be trying to get those cams in to try and snipe a lot of these lizards so that they won't do any kind of severe damage. But I don't know if they're going to get there in time. We do see Delthius trying to get into a good angle as he's waiting for a couple of more lizards to come by and before he goes in for the fight. And he will go ahead and take out a guaranteed pig here. So the pig is gone. So already only losing 1 lizard, I believe, compared to the 60 food loss over for this guy. And you can ask for anything better here. So already Delphius, another strong start. And it looks like this guy's not going to take any chances and just, you know what? We're going to go for the fight. We're going to fight. I'm very curious of what Delthius is going to do here, because there's a lot of things that he can do. He can go ahead and swoop in. Some good micro. Get those cams up front. And he will have enough. He will decide to go back, though. Not going to go for the trade, which is very interesting. But now we're seeing that this guy's going to go very aggressive here. I don't know if he's going to get those squirrels out in time. He's got to defend them very well. And it looks like he might barely etch out of this one. He does have another cam ready to go. And wow, this guy, really good counter here. Taking advantage of one of those mills, not fully going home, trying to expand to get more forward to Warren to get into the fight. Really smart move there from this guy. You really gotta love the creativity here within their units. And so now, this guy going in on the attack, and those cams are probably going to spell disaster as that squirrel army continues to grow. And now the cams doing the work. Get a couple of warrants for his trouble. Was hoping to possibly get a little bit more, maybe take out a pig or two. But Delthius really struggling to keep up, and he will go ahead and tap in. This guy tying things up very quickly, showing that this is not going to be one of those 4-0 sweeps. As we go ahead and get into game number 3. Yep, 1-on-1 already, and it's a very exciting one too, because we're not really extending into that mid game really at all. We're just seeing a lot of mass tier 1 opportunities here, but we'll see if things switch up as we get into game number 3 in the 7-game series. So this guy over down in the southern area in the yellow, while Delthius all the way up north in the red. both sides deciding to go badger composition. Nearly identical, but this guy's sticking with what has worked with him for game number 2. Delthius is saying, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and go for that standard here with some possible mole harassment as well. So we could see some mole shenanigans depending on what Delthius wants to do here. But it looks like we're gonna go with the Gentleman's 8. No shame in that. No shame in that whatsoever. So it looks like Delthius just understanding that he doesn't have to worry about any kind of like shenanigans going on with this guy. Gonna do a little bit of scouting. And I just see that he wants to see if there's like a possible another avenue, but that got blocked unfortunately because of that little item that's in the way. So yep, just gonna go ahead and go for the standard Gentleman's 8 before we dive into it. Now going into the map itself, I'm not gonna lie, this might be a 1 base scenario for both sides in all honesty, because like while yes there are a lot of mills everywhere, I don't really like a lot of them to be secondary, because as I said, this one for this guy is blocked off, so there's no real way of getting through to that. Meanwhile for Delthius, the closest one's right here, and it's not only lower ground, but it's also like on a cliff, so you have to like go all the way around just to, you know, utilize it in some shape or form. So it's very awkward mill placements here. So I would not be surprised if both sides said, nah, bump this, we're just gonna go for the 1 base ultimate showdown. Whoever wins it wins it. But Delthius actually does go ahead and go for the campfire, which honestly, very wise decision, because of the fact that the mill placements has not been great. Taking this guy, this right here is good, but this guy's going to see this, and he's probably going to go ahead and get his cams to take care of that very quickly. And he will go ahead and take that second mill, which is interesting. Delthius is going to spot this, as well as knowing that his campfire is going to be taken out pretty quickly. So 60 food being lost here. So Delthius is going to go say, yeah, bump it. We're just going to go ahead and dive into some pigeons. Start slowly climbing into that badger build. Meanwhile, this guy bringing in some skunks as well. I'm very curious as to who's going to drop that badger first and foremost. But it looks like Delthius is going to go ahead and say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and cancel out. Ooh, okay. Very greedy from this guy. Yeah, very smart to go ahead and just not go for this. Because in all honesty, there's just no way. There's no way he can grab that. So that's going to be another free 60. So this guy's just doing a little bit more scouting. He does see that the second mill over this way, but again, very awkward placement. I just don't. It just sucks when you're like, dang, it's like there, but it's not there. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so close to you, but it's so far away, because it's just like very annoying. Like a little cul-de-sac and a little forestry that separates between the two houses that makes it impossible for you to actually like go to that house, even if it's like right next to each other, you know? So we are going to see another attack happening. We do see that the cams are a little bit on an awkward spot. We'll see what happens here as they're going to flank from behind. They're going to be very late into this fight. We're going to see some possible skunk sniping? No. So it's going to be an even Steven stalemate as we go ahead and look into the graph here. Army value, nothing much changed. Economy, nothing much has happened between the two of them either. And yeah, I just think that we're at a point where they may have to consider just going ahead and getting into their tier 3s maybe, because they're about to have passed that 5-minute mark. It's gonna get real scrappy very quickly. We see that this guy recognizing that gonna take the campfire. Quick campfire build. I don't know if Delthius is gonna continue checking around in that area. He's gonna go ahead and continue to build a lot of Falcon, slowly transitioning into that. Right now, Delthius. Ooh, looking to go ahead and get into some moles, as he does know that this guy's badger is coming in soon. The fight comes in. Badger's here. We'll see if that changes anything. Right now, that Badger not really doing much, trying to get that rev going. And luckily, he will go ahead and fend this off. And this guy getting game number 2. As things going a little bit crazy here. So after a good start from Delthius, this guy being able to bounce back and get 2 in a row. And now I think the nerves here are probably going to be happening here for Delthius, as he's now behind. Very curious if he tries to switch things up one more time as we head into game number 4. Alrighty, so this guy in more of a southwestish position in the yellow once again. And then we have red going up north. Yeah, Delthius should have run away once he saw the Badger out. Yeah, I think that, like, once the Badger came into the fray, it was kind of... It was a little bit of a GG's, in all honesty. Especially with having so many tier 2 units and stuff, not knowing if they're going to get built in time. It was rough. It was a rough time. I think, like, when you're in that scenario where it's really impossible to get that second mill, it's just... You just have to be like, all right, we got to lock in and try and get a tier 3 as soon as possible. And just try your best to get to the ultimate fight between two 3s. Hey, Kayla, how you doing? So I'm going to go ahead and get into game number 2. Again, this is another, like, what's the point of trying to get a second? Well, maybe there's a little bit of a point. If you want to go ninja, that could be something. But both guys know how to scout very well, as we do see that Delthius getting as much of the scout as possible for the map. And we're probably seeing the same over here, who this guy's already scouted just about everything. And now Delthius starting off with some cams, and this guy is starting off with some cams also, which is very intriguing. So both players looking into having very similar openings here. Again, Delthius does have the Squizzard. I will like to note that we did see that Delthius dropped Badger once again, going back into the Wolf-Fox scenario. And even though this guy has done very, very well, we haven't seen the Toads come into play in any moment of the series. This could potentially happen with the amount of road that we have. So I wouldn't be surprised if we might see a Warren or two for Toads. But it looks like that Delthius is going to try and sneak in a campfire. And it looks like this guy's doing the same thing. Both of them are thinking so alike right now. Oh my gosh. See, that's the fun thing about Tooth and Tail. When you're just seeing very similar styles of, oh, we see that you're going after, you're going after one, I'm going after a campfire, trying to keep as much as possible, as both buy into it. So both sides really thinking smart here, trying to get that extra food as much as possible, because that's going to be very important. And is Delthius looking to possibly attack here? We're seeing a lot of squirrel coming in for Delthius. Meanwhile, this guy has a good amount of cams, though. So we could easily see the cams intercept this. Ooh. It looks like both sides were thinking the same thing of just trying to take each other's campfires. And so Delthius is going to go ahead and take out this. But this leaves his army vulnerable, as it absolutely gets creamed here. And no, both Falcons are still alive. Nope, never mind. Both are going to go ahead and take this. Going to the campfire. And I would not be surprised if this guy decides to go ahead and attack if he wants to. But no, he's going to go ahead and rebuy the campfire. I don't think Delthius is going to have the opportunity to buy his back, though, considering how close it is. And yeah, he's taking the wise decision of taking both food. And he will go in for an attack. And this might not end well for Delthius here. And right now we're seeing a quick battle here. And it seems like that this is... Yeah, this is not looking too good. Some good micro here from this guy. And this is probably going to be it here. So game number 4 going to this guy once again. Whew. So this guy up in match point for game number 4 as we head into game 5. And you gotta really love this. Very comfortable for this guy, but we'll see if Delthius can pull through here as we get into game number 5. Fingers crossed that we can see it extended, though. Fingers crossed. And no, you're not, Kaylee. You're not chopped liver. I'm just, we're doing stuff here today. You know what I mean? We're doing things. Actually, yeah, the chat box is muted. Just making sure. As you can see, we're casting games, man. All right, so yeah, we're at 4, so we're at game number 5. Will this guy be able to clinch it up here, or will Delthius still got some fight left in him? We're about to find out right now. So this guy over out in the west in the yellow, as Delthius out in the east rocking the red. So both sides deciding to keep with what they got for this matchup here. And honestly, this is probably the best map that Delthius has had since game 1. At least it's better than what was offered in the previous games, I think. As we are seeing that Delthius is just going to go very heavy on getting that eco up as fast as possible. And again, this guy just doing the same thing. So again, another gentleman's 8 as both sides decided to scout out a little bit, trying to see what's out there. Like I said, I do like Delthius's quite a bit. If anything, I would see if I can get the campfire over in this area and possibly get this as a ninja, because I don't know if this guy's going to be willing to go all the way over there. Well, he knows it's there, so maybe. It just depends on what he wants to do. Actually, no. He hasn't spotted anything in this area at all. So that's interesting. So I'm curious if he's going to even bother checking that area out. And if not, that could be a huge advantage for Delthius. I think that is what helps him in the long run, if he's able to go ahead and sneak that, if possible. We are going to see the lizard opening once again. Maybe looking to possibly get some harassment early on, but it might be too little too late. And now we're finally see some toads coming in, selling the cams, putting the toads, getting a lot of squirrels coming in. So it looks like that Delthius... Oh, this guy is prepared for whatever Delthius plans on doing. So with the amount of Tekka that we're seeing, we're going to see a bit of Squizzard action. We're now going to see this guy coming in on the way. This might not be good. This is not going to leak too good because he's walking on the doorstep. And it looks like he's going to lose a couple of pigs here. Toad's coming in late. That is a lot lost. That's probably game here. I'm not gonna lie. This is looking very rough. So yeah, this guy had a little bit of a rocky start in the early goings, but Delphi is still trying to show some fight. But this guy building in a second build. Commander ends up going down for Delthius, and he will go ahead and tap, and that's going to be the series as this guy goes ahead and handle things as he wins 4-2-1. GG's all around, guys. GG's all around.